Hi sis, welcome back to Anna's Archive. So we are in that time of the year where we are all trying to figure out what are we going to do for the next year, what our goals are going to be. We're trying to define exactly what we want to achieve for the next year. But if you're like me that it is struggling to define the goals that we want to achieve for the next year, this video is for you. So in today's video, I will talk about how to implement the SMART methodology into your 2026 goals. So you may be wondering, what are SMART objectives or SMART goals? Okay, so in the business world, there is a methodology called SMART objectives, and businesses use them to set goals for their next year or for a certain timeline for their business. So they use this SMART methodology to define their objective. This acronym means specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And in today's video, I want to show you how are you going to implement this business methodology into your self-improvement journey. So let's start. So businesses use a SMART objective to grow their business. So why shouldn't you use that to transform your life? So let's break it down, each concept for your self-improvement journey. So the first concept is a specific. So a goal or an objective must be clear, must be well defined. When you're setting your goals for the next year and you say, okay, so for the next year, I want to make more money, I want to be healthier, I want to improve this skill. These are very vague ideas. They have nothing specific about it. But how to make those goals more specific, more with the SMART method? You will ask yourself, what do you want exactly? And when you know exactly what you want, you are going to transform those ideas into goals. Instead of saying, I want to make more money, you will say, okay, so I want to make this amount of money for the next year. Or instead of saying, I want to be healthier, you will say, I will work out every day, every morning. The more specific is your goal, the more easier it will be for you to achieve that goal. Because if you have that idea, if you have that goal clear in your mind and well defined, it will be easy for you to start planning something around that objective. So the second concept is measurable. In business, you can improve something if that thing cannot be measured. So imagine that your next goal for the next year, is to read more. So the more specific way for this goal is to read 2 books. But how are you going to measure that? You're going to say that I want to read 2 pages a day or a chapter a day. That way you can measure and track your progress. And you can see how have you been improving since the day you started until the end of the year. So in other words, your goal becomes measurable when you add numbers, frequency, progress indicators. So for example, instead of saying be more disciplined, you can say wake up at 7 a.m. every day. Or instead of saying read more or read a book, say I'm going to read 2 pages every day. I'm going to read 5 pages every week. This can be more measurable for you. You can track with that, you can track your progress. So the third concept is achievable. And this concept is not about being realistic or limiting yourself. This concept is to know your capacity, what you are capable of. Set a goal that you know you're going to achieve 100%. What you need to do here is to understand your starting point to then achieve what you think you're not capable of. Because, for example, if your goal is to go to the gym every day, and you know deep in yourself that you are not going to be able to go to the gym every day, that goal is going to disappear, because you know yourself and you know that you won't be able to go to the gym for 2 hours every day. So to start with something, you can just tell yourself, you can set a goal for yourself. Okay, going to the gym for twice a week. Twice a week. That, for example, could be your capacity, but for other people, their capacity could be going 3 times a week to the gym or going every day to the gym. As I'm telling you, your objectives are a process, your goals are a process. So if you start on day one very motivated about your goals, about what you're going to do for the next year, if you start very motivated and you set goals to yourself that you know that you're not capable of, that those goals are not going to be achievable for the end of the year, because you started day one very excited and you tried to run to do whatever you wanted to do, and then you get tired mid process because you thought that you could do that, and because you saw the people doing it. Just start step by step and you are going to improve gradually. So that's why your goals need to be achievable, things that you are capable of. And once you accomplish what you are capable of, you can start gradually improving, because self-improvement is a process. Okay, it takes consistency, trust, and practice. Okay, and it also takes time. So it doesn't matter if you are only capable of doing something small, because eventually once you get used to that, you will improve, you will get better on that skill or on trying to be more fitness. You will improve, but start with something that you are capable of. The first concept is that your goal needs to be relevant to you, not to your parents, not to your friends, not to social media. It needs to be aligned with the life that you want for yourself, not for the people expectations of you, not for doing it for trendy videos or whatever. Set a goal that will align with your future self. If you set a goal that is relevant to you, that will make you disciplined, that will motivate you every day. It needs to connect with you. You have to ask yourself, does this goal bring me closer to my future self, to my ideal self in the future? When setting a goal, it is important that it aligns with your vision for yourself, with your values, and with your long-term pursuit. Okay, so the last one is time bound, and this one is like the most obvious. Okay, so in business, it is often to put deadlines on certain tasks, but in self-improvement, we don't need a strict deadline, but it is important to have, let's say, a frame time. So in business, when they give you a certain task, they give you a deadline, because if you don't have a deadline, we are going to procrastinate that task until we feel ready to do it. And sometimes we are not even ready to do certain tasks. We just do it because it is about time. But in self-improvement, it's not actually that we need a strict deadline, but we need to at least put us a time frame. Okay, we need to know, when do we want this goal achieved? Is this goal that you're trying to achieve for 1 year, 2 years? Okay, if you tell yourself that, oh, I want to be healthier, I want to run every day, I want to look more skinny, or I want to have more money into my bank account, I want to be richer. This goal needs to be put in a timeline, because It's easy to say, I want this, I want that, I will achieve this, I will achieve that. But when are you trying to do these types of things? Because yeah, one day I'm going to be rich. When is that one day? You need to put yourself a time frame, not a strict deadline, not a deadline, because we don't choose actually when things are going to happen to us. But at least we need to figure out when this goal is going to be achieved. Because without time, a goal just becomes a wish. If you set yourself a time frame, that is going to be achieved no matter what. But if you don't give yourself a time frame, or let's say a deadline, that is just going to be a wish. And wishes sometimes may come true and sometimes may not come true. And that's the reality. So these are the SMART objectives. So what's next? So what you're going to do next after you set your SMART objectives, you're going to plan your next year around these objectives. This way your actions will make sense, your habits will align with your vision, and in fact, your growth will become intentional and not accidental. With the SMART objectives, your vision for the next year leads for a better version for yourself. So that's the end of the video. I hope you like it and see you in the next video.